Hello and welcome to SweetSpotDFS. This is a course fit video for the 2020 Northern Trust. If you've been with me before, you know I kind of do a DFS preview that incorporates basically course fit and recent form all into one. Ends up being around, an hour long, 40 minutes to an hour long. I'm going to break those videos up, or I'm going to break that video up into two videos. We're going to have course fit, and then we're going to have current form or recent form, something along that effect. But it's really just to make these videos shorter. So in this video, I'll be talking about really the course preview, do kind of like a little flyover of the golf course, and then we will look at course history and tournament history, because we are playing at the TPC Boston, or the TPC. We're playing at TPC Boston, which used to be the host of the Dell Technologies Championship. Yeah, that's exactly what it's called. Dell Technologies has many different tournament names, and just wanted to make sure I had the correct one. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's talk about. I usually like to look at tournament fact sheets. Try to get a little bit of information that we previously would not have seen, or just to kind of refamiliarize ourselves with what this golf course is. So it's a par 71. 7,300 yards. It says unofficial. It's going to play a little bit longer, a little bit shorter on each given day. It's just going to be around 7,300 yards. That's about the best we could say. And for a par 71, that's pretty much average. A little bit north of average, but for the most part, average. One thing I do like to look at is kind of how many water hazards are in play, because we can, like, right away off the hop just be like, you know what, we can choose to play volatile golfers or golfers that spray the ball, but if there were more than this, I should say, I don't think, like 2 holes where water's in play is enough, honestly, to really worry. But let's say there was 10 holes where water was in play or more, or even like maybe 6 or more is probably better. I'd be concerned. So I'm not really concerned when I see that. Not too worried about water. Now, I'm sure some people could hit really wayward shots and find water, but I'm not going to worry about it. I really like to come down and look at this information here. Now, there's more information here than there was on the 2018 tournament fact sheet. The GCSAA is doing a really good job of giving us even more information than we previously had. Because before it used to just say A4 creeping and then just Princeville. Like, you didn't know if it was bent grass or not. You'd have to look it up, but we are on bent grass. It's pretty much pure bent grass. We don't have to worry about any POA, really, although this kind of concerns me. Bluegrass, I believe, is ryegrass. I can't remember. I suppose if I were to see it, I would know what POA is. But POA is, there's another like type of POA that's blue something. But anyways, pretty much pure bent grass. So those are the grass stats we'll be looking at, are bent grass stats. Architect Arnold Palmer. Unfortunately, I don't really have much information on Arnold Palmer golf courses. I think he just makes good tracks. I don't think he really has a typical design that he sticks to. Like we were just on Donald Ross last week, where all the greens slope from back to front. That's just one of his trademarks. Pete Dye, his trademarks are setting you up in different angles, so it looks crooked when you're off the tee. Or on the green, he'll have different types of, I don't know what to call them, but like mounds and stuff in on the greens and in the distance to try to throw you off of where or how the putt is breaking. With Arnold Palmer, for whatever I remember, it's just long golf courses, like where bombers prevail. But this isn't so much a bomber track. I think the last Arnold Palmer golf course the PGA played at was the 3M Open. So if you do want to find some correlation between the two, go for it. I'm not huge when it comes to correlation on like different golf courses. Now for Architects I am, but I don't know about Arnold Palmer. I'm not positive really what his course design tendencies are. I just know that they're kind of long tracks. So additional notes, weather has been warm and dry this year, so that probably means it's going to play a little firm. This is the 17th tournament the course has hosted since opening in 2002. Again, this is I should have said this in the beginning, but it used to be a staple on the PGA Tour, TPC Boston. So there is a lot of course history you can grab from. And I don't really care too much about that, but it's kind of cool. You guys can read that. So yeah, that would be the tournament fact sheet. Let's go ahead and do kind of like a little flyover. Now, this is a TPC golf course, and for whatever reason, TPC kind of is like shrouded. They don't like to do their own flyovers. Like if we went to another golf course, like the Wyndham, for instance, the Wyndham would have given us a pretty decent flyover. Although like last week, I couldn't find anything. So we're back here on Blue Golf, bluegolf.com. Gives you kind of a satellite version of which it's like a Google Maps satellite version of the golf course, which is fine. You know, we're just looking for the flyover, basically, or just going through and seeing what kind of shots that the pros will have to play going into this tournament, or into these holes. First hole, 365 yards off the championship tee. It'll be interesting to see how close Bryson can get. I just don't know where the tee boxes will be any given day. Like if the tee boxes are back here, like he will have room to operate, but this tree line here, depending on how high the trees are, I just don't see a draw golfer like Bryson being able to bomb them over the trees when they're that close to the tee boxes. But it'll be interesting to see if he can go for it or not. But really, you're probably going to hit an iron, a 3-wood, somewhere in this general location. Maybe you hit a driver up here if you really feel like your wedges are on. But let's say you do, hit it back here. A draw shape into the green is going to be preferred. So I would say a fade off the tee and a draw into the green. But obviously, if you hit it close enough where you're just hitting a wedge into the green, it really doesn't matter what you shape it, because they're going to have wedges. They're going to be able to control their spin. They don't need to, shape it to get to tight pin locations. So and I will give you kind of a tally at the end of this little course preview to tell you how many off the tee draws or fades that I've counted and how many off or approach draws or fades. So there's hole 1. Hole 2 is a par 5, pretty long par 5. I guess it's not that difficult for these pros because obviously everyone's hitting the ball further, but I would say a fade off of the tee and obviously a fade into the screen is going to be beneficial. I mean, it really depends on your angle. So really, you could hit a draw and be okay. It really just depends on where the pin is and where the angle is. So if we have like a back left pin over here, obviously a draw going into that green is going to be nice. But a fade can just, put it this way. A pro will want to hit a fade into this because if there is chance for water, it's where the ball last crossed. And then you get to go backwards from that with the flag in line. And hitting a fade will give you, a closer result. Hitting a draw, you're going to have to play over a bunch of junk over here. So really, you'd want to be hitting a fade. And those that can actually control the fade will have a bigger advantage on this hole. Hole 3 really depends on where the pin is located. It can be a draw or a fade. It's a par 3, 184 yards, but 213 from the championship tees. Hole number 4 is drivable. I think we have a few drivable holes on this course. And this is definitely one that a lot of pros go to. We can't see it on here, but what I remember is there's kind of like, this is like a downhill, this whole section right here. And then it comes back up right to the green. So the green, you can't really see it, but it's like right here. This is all fairway. That kind of is a collection area down here. Lots of pros go for it. We see a bunch of eagles every single time that this course is played. I think we'll see eagles, and obviously a draw is preferred on this hole. I think a lot of pros will be somewhere in this range or trying to give themselves kind of a good spinning shot to get into the green, especially if because the pins will be tucked here on the front left at least twice. They'll be tucked on this left side. And if they do lay up a little shorter, having a draw into this is going to be beneficial. So regardless, it's a draw off the tee or a draw into the green. I shouldn't even say that. This is, you can play this any way you want, because a fade draw or a fade drive can get you in this area, and then it's just a chip up to the green. Like, it's not terrible. Hole 5, I'd say would be a draw. Just because we have a bunker here. We want to avoid the bunker. We don't really want to be hitting over the bunker in case we do mishit it. But anyways, a draw will get you on these left pins. Really, the only time we want to hit a fade is maybe if the pin is in the back right or the front right. But I think it's still pretty accessible even if you hit a draw. So, hole 6. With the trees that are right here, depending on where the tee box is, so we have a tee box right here, but then the rest of them are here. If they play any of the tee boxes here, a fade is going to be just fine, but obviously we want to hit a draw off the tee. And then with the water right here, I don't know how much that plays into account, but even with bunkers on the left side, it looks like we have bunkers. We would want to hit a draw into any of these, just because, again, if we have a miss hit, hitting a fade over this stuff is not going to be nice. So definitely a draw would be preferred. I'm sure you could hit a fade. So I'm not saying you have to hit a draw. Hole number 7 looks like it's a fade off the tee. It's more forgiving to hit a fade off the tee. You could hit a draw. There's nothing really in line. It's just these bunkers kind of come into play right here. And it is a par 5, very long. I'm not sure if really a lot of pros are going to be able to reach it into. I think there's the possibility, but I'm just not positive exactly if they can or can't. So really, it's probably going to be a layup for most. And if that's the case, it's definitely a draw approach shot. Even if it's off of the, even if it's your second shot, it's definitely a draw. So I think the draw golfers have an advantage on this hole. So I would definitely put more draw emphasis on that. This just depends on where the pin is located. We have front left, front right, back right. It's a draw or fade. Hole number 9 looks like it's a draw, and then whatever approach shot that you want. It does not matter. In my opinion, it does not matter. Hole number 10, kind of the same thing, pretty straight away, but and it really depends on how far they hit the ball, the pros. Because if you hit it far enough, like 100 yards, it doesn't matter what shot shape you have into the green. You're going to be able to control it with spin. So really, I don't care what you would want to hit on this hole. I do think it would be a preferred draw approach. But off the tee, I don't think it really matters. And then this hole, again, these par 3s don't really have much. It at least from here doesn't appear like there's much hazard missing left or right, so I can't tell you with full certainty that you should hit a draw or a fade, but you could hit either. Hole number 12, kind of a longer type of golf course or hole. Now the thing is, we can't see the green on this hole, but what I can tell you is you do want to hit a fade into this green because it kidney shapes off to the right. You can't see it right here. They put the pin here, but that's not correct. The pin should be up here. So yeah, it's definitely a fade into this green. And from where this tee box is located, I guess you could hit it over the trees, but a draw would be suited here. Now, if the tee boxes are utilized over here, you can hit a fade. Not a big deal. So it's definitely a fade approach. And then depending on where the tee boxes are, it's a draw or a fade off the tee. 13, pretty wide open. Whatever you want to hit, it's going to leave you a short-ish shot. I mean, if you hit it 300 yards, you'll have 150 yards into the green. So I think this is one that probably the Bombers have a little bit of an advantage over. And again, any shot shape for either approach or off the tee. I don't think it really matters which. Hole number 14, par 5, 495 yards. I wonder if this is going to be a little bit longer because this seems like a pretty short par 5. or if this is going to be converted to a par 4. It's got to be, yeah, this will be a par 4. So it'll be a longer par 4. It's definitely a draw off the tee, but depending again where the tee boxes are, you probably hit a fade, but it's definitely a fade approach shot. Hole 15 off the tee doesn't look like it really matters. 426 is pretty short. 300-yard drive. I don't know where that's going to get you. It might bring this bunker into play, and I really have no idea if there's any runoff here. But maybe golfers will be hitting 3-wood off the tee to avoid this bunker, most likely, where then any shot shape is going to be fine. But I would probably prefer a fade tee shot to avoid this bunker. But yeah, I think either off the tee or approach, I think it'll be fine. Hole number 16 is kind of a signature hole. Lots of water here on the left. Definitely having a draw come into any of the pins on the back left. I wouldn't even say so much the front left, because everything slopes left on this green. So even if you were to hit a shot in the middle of the green, it will funnel a little bit down. I almost would say, I mean, it's going to be visually beneficial for golfers who draw the ball. For golfers who fade the golf ball, the water might be a little intimidating, but I think they actually really get the benefit for hitting a shot into this hole. Hole number 17, it's going to be a layup. You know, like, you could hit it down here. I've seen pros do it. And if you are, because this is all like severe downhill, if you're going to, I would obviously prefer a draw. I'm not saying fades can't do it, but definitely draws are like, they can easily do it. I say it visually, it's going to be beneficial for them. And then the approach into this, it's really any. It depends on where the pin is, where the pin's located. Obviously, we see a bunker on the left side, so I'd prefer anything that comes from right to left, but really not a big deal. If it was a fade coming in, I think this is a short enough hole where it's not going to matter that much. And then hole 18 finishes off with a par 5. I believe it'll still be a par 5. When the pros play, I'm not positive on it, but I think there is limitations on how far you can hit it. I'm not positive if anyone can reach this level over here. So I'm wondering if some of these pros have to hit 3-wood off of the tee, and really you have trees that surround, like they look like they're pretty tight to the tee box on the left, so hitting a fade might be difficult to do. So I would definitely say it's a draw type of off the tee, but I think it's a fade into the green. So that's kind of my preview. I would say after going through all of this, a golfer who can move the ball both directions is gonna very well benefit from it. I think that's the golfer we would want to choose from. Having a one-way miss, I think if there was a golfer, or if there was a one-way miss to have, I think it's having a right to left shot shape. So I think any golfer that has said that they like right to left shot shapes, or you just know hit a right to left shot shape, I think is going to be a benefit here. So keep that in mind when we go through the rest of this. So what I'm going to do is go to my old Dell Technologies Championship spreadsheet. You can see it says RIP, rest in peace. But this is all TPC Boston from 2013 to 2018. And then I added the player pool that is playing at the Northern Trust. NTC just means Northern Trust Championship, what it used to be called. It's obviously just called the Northern Trust, but for my database, I just have NTC as the abbreviation. As you can see, Abraham Answer, 7th place finish in 2018. A lot of these golfers that just have one finish, I really don't know what to make of that. I think it's good to see, but I wouldn't put a lot of weight on that. So if I were to go ahead and remove the golfers who've only played here once, that gives us with kind of this. And when we look at these golfers, I would say, Bryson obviously has a win and a 30th. That isn't really it really isn't. It's not enough, or it's not close together, especially for his price point. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show you this just so you guys can see it, because I've also imported this onto another spreadsheet. So as you can see, I guess the golfer that has the most top 10s at this golf course for this tournament, or not so much for this tournament, but just at this golf course during this time, would be Patrick Reed. And then we have Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, Paul Casey, Rory McIlroy, Matt Kuchar, and Justin Rose, all with 2 top 20s. Really, best finish would be Rory McIlroy here. Of the golfers that have 2 or more top 10s, Rory's finished first, obviously once. And then we have Paul Casey, Justin Rose, and Jordan Spieth with second place finishes. All of them have missed cuts as well, or those guys have missed cuts. The ones that don't, Matt Kuchar, Dustin Johnson, and Patrick Reed. But that 75 place finish, not very good. So I just want to show you guys that. We can come back to, well, now to my Northern Trust video or spreadsheet. And really, this is going to have just tournament history. So we can also incorporate that into everything. When we look at top 10s, you know, we have Adam Scott and Jason Day with 4 top 10s at this quote-unquote tournament. Obviously, it moves to different golf courses, so it's kind of good to also know this information because it gives you kind of a good idea of who plays well during this time. And we incorporate that into course history as well. So when we look at this, again, Adam Scott, Jason Day, golfers with the best or the most top 10s here, both have wins. I mean, from 2015 and on, basic, or from 2015 going back. Everyone has a missed cut except for Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, I guess Ryan Palmer, and that would be it. So of these top guys with 2 top 10s or more, these 3 golfers are the golfers who have not yet. I mean, look at some of these finishing positions. We get rid of this, and it's Patrick Cantlay and Justin Thomas who have the best finishing positions at this tournament. That's not to say this golf course, remember. But I do want you guys to see that. I mean, like, Justin Thomas definitely has the best. I mean, him and Patrick Cantlay are really close. And I almost thought of using Patrick Cantlay as my thumbnail, being my favorite golfer. But he only has a right to left shot shape. I'm not positive how I feel of him just having that type of shot shape. I'm sure he can hit a fade, but obviously when it comes down to it, he would rather hit a draw. But yeah, he will be a play that I enjoy, that I like. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up talking about kind of like an overall. We'll go grass stats now. This is a spreadsheet obviously you're familiar with. I haven't populated everything. I did add the salaries because I could, because DraftKings actually gave them out a little early. So you can see course history, and everything that you see dark green are top 20 in the field. So you can see the golfers that have good tournament history as well as course history. I've highlighted them on the screen. Likewise, I could also go tournament history, and you can see all the golfers with good course history as well. I mean, they're going to be the same, but we see Patrick Cantlay, Jason Day, Jordan Spieth, Dustin Johnson, Louis Oosthuizen, Jon Rahm, and Paul Casey. I'm going to do something a little bit later at the end of this video to kind of break it down to my top 3 golfers. But when we look at overall bent, you can see right here, I'm not going to really talk about it, but you can see how many events they've played. The color scheme that goes with this is just, it's every 20th place, basically. So dark green is your top 20 in bent events. So this gives you a little bit more of a rounder picture, because having 67 events and having that overall bent grass overall finishing position, gives you a better idea how good he is on bent grass. Having this dark red like Victor Hovland having 11 events, not a lot. So it's hard to, gauge, is he as good as Jordan Spieth on bent grass? Well, probably at this time, yes, but over the history, like that's a pretty good, average. It's still better than Hovland, and he only has 11. So that's kind of how this reads. And I'll let you guys look at the top 20. Again, pause the video, screenshot it to get that information. Here's your top 20 golfers in 2020 bent grass stats, or bent grass averaging position. I think it just speaks for itself. So what I'm going to do, I am actually going to, so when we look at course history, I'm going to grab from 29 and down. I'm going to add some conditionals so you guys can see this. So we're going to go 30 and below, actually. So less than 30. So now that's really, lowered it. And then we're going to go less than 32. And then really, I'm just going to go by bent grass. And I think when we look at this, I think these golfers are kind of your best golfers to choose from. I kind of averaged all of these. I shouldn't say averaged them out, but basically I did kind of a count. And so Jon Rahm, with all of these calculated together, that's 124.08. Or that averages out to be 24.82. When we do Rory, 26.51. When we do Jason Day, 23.32. That's going to be your lowest, by the way. Dustin Johnson's 36.94. Spieth is 35.93. Tommy is 36.60. Cantlay is 22.89. He is better than Jason Day. 22.89. And Jason Day is 23.32. So, I mean, like, Cantlay could be the best. Paul Casey, 39.87. And Louis Oosthuizen, 34.47. So, really, Cantlay is probably the best, just by course history or course fit. He's probably the best for this golf course. The only thing I don't like about Cantlay is he can't shape shots that well. Rahm, on the other hand, can shape shots. I do like Rahm, and I also like Jason Day. Both of those golfers, Rahm and Day, can shape shots. Now, they used to be one-way miss type of guys, but they are now hitting shots in different directions, which is good. So that's going to conclude the course history or the course fit video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and it wasn't too long. Always want to keep these short, or try to keep these short. Maybe I'll do the course preview a little shorter from now on, because I know that kind of took most of the time. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. So please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you for the recent form video tomorrow or later today. All right, bye.